Welcome to the Actually I Can Female Entrepreneur podcast. I am your host, Kayleigh Greenacre, a business strategist, coach, TEDx speaker, author, and your go-to woman for all things business strategy. I am obsessed with supporting female entrepreneurs to grow unstoppable six and multi-six-figure businesses that they love, giving them the freedom and life that they desire. During this podcast, I'll be sharing with you everything that you need to become a successful female entrepreneur, from the mindset shifts to sales and marketing strategies, and how to become an iconic leader that people can't get enough of. It is my mission to help you stand out, attract your dream clients and customers, and sell out of your offers with ease whilst building the business and life of your dreams. Let's make this your reality, ladies. Hello, ladies, and welcome to another episode of Actually I Can, the Female Entrepreneur podcast. And I'm joined today by the fabulous Becky Ackerman, who is the founder of I Do Handmade Pop-Up. And we are going to be diving into how to sell at Christmas events successfully with your business. Becky, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here on the episode.
Thank you for having me. Really excited for this conversation.
I'm so excited. We're obviously coming up towards Christmas, and I know that a number of our listeners will be thinking, how can I sell effectively at Christmas time? And I know that you are an absolute pro at selling at events. So I definitely think that this episode, we're going to bring out some incredible tips and strategies and advice for people of how they can really utilize events, especially at Christmas time. But before we do that, I would love to dive a little bit more into your journey and your story. Can you share with our audience a little bit more about you and what your journey has consisted of?
Yeah, definitely. So I've been in business for about 12 years now, running my own business. And then I was made redundant in 2018, where I focused everything on the business. I've been in the handmade craft sort of world. I used to make products myself, sell them at markets, try and sell them online. And then in 2021, we reached out to Westfield to see if we could rent a space in their shopping centre and to try and sell our products. And they told me how much it was, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is so much. Can I share the space with a few friends? And they said, yeah, sure. So I put an advert on Facebook, and cut a long story short, I had 180 brands interested in sharing this space with us.
Wow.
And so it sort of turned into this sort of pop-up market sort of vibe. And we didn't actually end up having a stall for our own products because it turned into this operation. And so we were in Westfield for 6 weeks, and every day was different brands. It was a collection of handmade brands. And Westfield asked us to come back, and then we went back at Christmas for a little pop-up then. And the sort of pop-up business was created, and we run events across the country for handmade businesses to sell their products. And now we've recently launched the hub, where we collate hundreds of opportunities for product selling businesses to grow and scale and sell more. So that's where we're at now.
Oh, amazing. How incredible of an opportunity as well. And being able to then take that and turn it into something very, very unique, which by the sounds of it in the product-based business sector and industry, there wasn't really something like that. So let's talk a little bit about events before we dive into the Christmas side of things. What would you say are the benefits of female entrepreneurs selling at in-person events?
Yeah, definitely. Whether you're a service-based, whether you're a product-based business, I definitely would recommend getting your business out there in some shape or form. Firstly, to increase sales. Secondly, to introduce yourself to a new audience that you would never meet before. Also, to increase your mailing list signups. It's a great opportunity to help get more people on your mailing list. To build your network as well. The brands that you stand next to at events, it's so important to connect with them, and that will help give you more opportunities. They will recommend you. I know a counselor. Oh, I met a candle seller at this event, or whatever. And it's a great way finally to increase your confidence. I think it can be really frightening sometimes to put yourself out there, but just when you're there, you just put on a mask and you sell your products. It just makes you feel really proud, and hearing customers say, I really love this, well done, or I never knew you could do that. It's a real good confidence booster as well.
Absolutely. And we know that Christmas is a really interesting time of the year. I think a lot of people, especially service providers, struggle a little bit with the concept of, well, people aren't going to have money to spend at Christmas. But Couldn't be farther from the truth or further from the truth. So many people love to buy things, whether it's gifts, whether it's things for themselves, etc. So let's dive into the concept of Christmas. What would you say are some of the key steps that businesses can take to prepare to sell at Christmas events? And is there anything specific that you would advise for them to do?
Yeah, I'd say firstly, get your online presence, just the basics sorted. That might be setting up a Instagram or social media profile, just having your basics information, who you are, what you do, how you help people, and most importantly, having a link in bio, whether that's your website or whether it's your Etsy shop. Or if you don't have a website, you're not sure where to start, there's so many free landing page websites now. For example, Beacons, we use that one, or Linktree as well. You can just have a free one of those, and it just says who you are, what you sell, and yeah, if you don't have a shop, and people have to message you to place an order or to start a service, put that on there and say the way to order with me is XYZ, and that's just will really help customers know where to go. And then I guess in terms of selling in person, I would say there's two routes you can go through. If you're a product-based business, I would say there are the rent-a-shelf options. There's hundreds of shops around the country where you can rent a shelf for a week or a month, and you can have your products in those shops, and you physically don't need to be there. So this is great if you've got a full-time job and you're running your business on the side, and you can have that option. We've collated over 160 shops on the hub, which I mentioned earlier that we run to help people have that information to hand. And then the other option would be just start searching for markets and events and exhibitions and school fairs. There's so many going on across the country. Yeah, we've got over 1,000 on our platform around the UK. But there's so many ways that you can search for them yourselves, or either on Facebook groups. They're on like loads of platforms that you can look online. So Stall Finder. Start Googling stalls in your area on Google, and you can come up with loads. Just be very careful of spammers, because there's lots of nasty people out there sharing fake adverts for events. So
Oh no. Oh goodness. But do their research, find ones that are local to them specifically, and see what kind of fits and works for them, especially in their own industry and their businesses, right?
yeah.
Once they say, for example, they secured their spot at an event, how would you say that businesses can stand out? Because I think when you walk into one of these events, there are so many incredible businesses, and especially if they're a new business or they've never been to an event before where they've actually, set up their own stand or stall or whatever that looks like. How can they make themselves stand out?
Yeah, I think adding a gamifying element to your stall, whether your product or service, something that entices customers, spin to win, or guess how many stitches are in this picture, or guess how
Yeah.
many sweets are in the jar, or lucky dip, or something that entices people, and you have a sign for that. That brings people over all the time. Experiential things, tasters, samples, smell me, touch me, see what it is, feel it, hold it, all those sort of things when you get people's senses involved. Something that works really well, which is a bit sneaky, but kids, if you can attract kids and get them to your stall and then have something that entertains them, whether it's coloring or whether it's something there, then you've got like a perfect window to chat to their parent or grown up and upsell your product, which is a bit sneaky, but it works.
Interactiveness, something attractive, something to bring the kids over. Absolutely.
Literally. And then finally, I'd say trying to say hello to absolutely everyone, as hard as it is, and you'll be exhausted at the end of the day. If you can say hello to everyone and then respond with a question, that will start a conversation, and have a few questions up your sleeve as well to definitely help upsell and start getting the story of your business into those conversations.
Amazing. Amazing. And what about then selling? So say, for example, they've attracted people over to their stalls or tables, and then they really want to obviously make sales whilst they're there. Are there any strategies that you can suggest to help them increase in-person sales there and then at the event?
I think the most important one, if you can, is capturing their email address, whether that's through a competition or fill in this and we'll give you a free this, or having something there to capture their information to be able to sell to them a few months down the line. it will make more sales for your business. And then when you have those email addresses, send them a personal email, nothing fancy. Just say, hey, it was really lovely to meet you today. It was so great to show our products with you. Would love to know a little bit more about you. And then that's it. And then that starts sowing the seed for them to trust and like follow you on Instagram, and then they'll potentially make you a sale like a few months down the line. I think physically on your store, if you have your best selling product in the middle, or your biggest service, your biggest high ticket sale in the middle, that is always usually where the eye goes to when you're looking at a stall. And also have a range of priced items as well. So literally small stocking fillery size products under £5, and then have large sale products as well. So really have a good spectrum, because you'll get different types of client that will buy different sorts of things. And then I would say people love a story. If you can start just sharing a little bit of why did you set up your business, or why you thought that there was a problem and you wanted to solve it through this product or service. People love hearing that. And when you start connecting with people, you definitely build a relationship, and they will feel more, they would want to support you, and they want to, yeah, celebrate your business and purchase your product or service. So, yeah.
Love that. What would you say some of the most common mistakes are that people potentially make, or business owners make, at Christmas events or any events?
Yeah, I think not capturing email addresses, as I mentioned
Yes.
before, that's a huge opportunity there to capture more data. Sitting on your phone and not looking at people, I know it can be tiring. You're on your feet the whole day. It's so exhausting, but you're there for that reason. And if you're not engaging with it, there's no point having a stall really, because you need to be like how a customer would see your business. You are your brand right there. So I would say try and stand up, and if you are able, and be connecting with the passers-by, chatting to them. I think I'm a very shy and introverted person, and I used to have market stalls, and I used to absolutely hate it. Like the lead up, I got so nervous for it. But if you just have a few questions up your sleeve and just try and just ask those questions and start those conversations, that will also help start those conversations to start like people wanting to buy your products. So I know shyness can be a huge barrier for people not wanting to get out there, but if you just, yeah, have some tools up your sleeve to help, that can really help. And I think the last one would be having a backup card payment option for any reason.
Oh, that's a good
Wi-Fi
idea.
can be bad, or they might not have the card on them or something. But if there's a way where you can have either a QR code on your stall which links to your PayPal account, or have your bank details ready to share. I know some banks offer a payment link. So I was with Starling, and you can share a link that if you press that link, you can send people a bank transfer really easily. That can be a great option. And also having coins and notes as change as well, because some people still buy with cash.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Having a little bit of a backup. I love what you said there about QR codes as well. Whenever I go to events now, I see them pop up everywhere. Everyone's got a couple of QR codes, pinned there that everyone can just scan. It's just super simple and easy, isn't it? To whether that's to collect email addresses, to enter competitions, to for payment, reasons, for all of the things. So yeah, I definitely think that's a great idea. How important is it for kind of like the marketing and the branding? So I know that when I've been to events, like I've never actually set up a stall or a table at an event myself personally. But when I've been to events, some people come along with the massive banners and posters and all of the things to kind of represent their brand, whereas others will, focus more on just they've got the table or stall, whatever they're given, and then the products themselves. How important would you say that is? Because I know that's another expense that female entrepreneurs would have to pay out for in advance.
I think visually, if you can make your little area as aesthetically pleasing as possible, that really attracts people from a distance wanting to see, oh, what's that? It's your representation of your brand. It's what your shop would look like if you had your own store. I think it is really important. Having it set out as well in a professional way, no little handmade price signs. You don't want it to look like a jumble sale. You want it to look professional and like you know what you're doing, and that you're not at a car boot sale. You want you want to be proud of how you display it. So definitely, if you can just have maybe 2 roller banners, they're about £50 now to purchase. So once you've got them, you've got them. And practice your setup at home as well to see how it looks before you go, if it's your first ever event, so that you feel confident that you know what you're doing at the beginning of the day. Yeah, marketing and that sort of side of things definitely important part of it.
And is there a way that they can, at those events, leverage upselling or bundle techniques or anything else to kind of boost their sales, especially at Christmas when it's a time where people are spending money, they're walking around, they're probably quite busy events? Is there anything that you would suggest or recommend in terms of leveraging upselling or bundling?
Yeah, a few of the events that we've done, I've seen stallholders do quite a few fun initiatives where they do something on socials and they say, mention this word, and the first 5 people will win this. And that's a great way to, I've got like create nice conversations and other people will hear these conversations going on. Potentially offering a meet and greet as well for your customers to meet you and hang out with you and chat with you. On the day deals as well, they work really well. This is the lowest price you'll get this for. And maybe even offering a free collection as well on your website. So say people purchase something, don't want to pay for delivery, come collect it for free. We'll be at these events over the coming few weeks. So that can be a great way as well to get more people to the event.
Amazing. And then what about after the event? If they've collected lots of email addresses, for example, or phone numbers, however they want to, data collect, what's the best way then for businesses to follow up after that to kind of keep that momentum going and encourage future sales, for example?
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, sending a personalized email to them afterwards. That's such a lovely touch. And if you are feeling brave, creating maybe a series of emails that goes out once a week or once a fortnight. I know MailerLite, they offer a free email plan for up to 1,000 subscribers. So that's a great one to start with if you're just not sure where to start with. And it collects the data in a safe way from a GDPR perspective as well, so you don't have to worry about that. I would say promoting the brands as well that are around you, and connecting with them, making an intention to follow up with them as well to say hi, and they will help recommend events and things to you. I'd say also maybe setting up your camera on the day for filming you to be able to share that content at a later date, and people might be like, oh, I saw you, or they might see your content and see other events that you're at and potentially build that relationship further. Yeah.
Amazing. Loads of tips. Absolutely loads of tips here. And what about mindset? I'm always really, really keen to support people with their mindsets. And I know that mindset and limiting beliefs can always hold people back from any aspect of their business. Are there any kind of tips or strategies that you would suggest to people who are a little bit anxious or worried about going to an event and putting up their business for the first time?
Yeah, definitely. I'm very anxious minded and I'm always trying to give as much information to our stallholders as much as possible because I know what it's like from that side of view, that point of view, sorry. And we receive messages and we say, oh, can I find out the other brands that are there on the day? And that can be a really helpful way for them to connect with other people before they get there, and they'll feel like they know somebody that's going to be there. That's a lovely way. Yeah, we create a place for them to chat before the events on a like a sort of Facebook group for our stallholders to get to know each other. There's also ways where if you just tell the organizer that how you're feeling or what's going on, they might have resources available. I know that we've got a top tips guide that we share to everybody that books a stall with us. Then it shares all the information, what to bring, what to pack, what to do beforehand, what to do afterwards. That's a really helpful way to help you feel a bit more confident.
Absolutely. And what would be the final piece of advice you could give to people if people are considering going to a Christmas event this year, or potentially even in the future, even if it's after Christmas, it's not Christmas, but an event into the future, into the new year? Is there any final advice that you would give them?
Yeah, I'd say definitely try and do one event. If you're feeling brave, just sign up to one at first. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. Secondly, I would say make sure that the event is right for your clientele. Pick events that might have the shoppers there that would purchase your products. So if it's a school fair, there would be stocking fillery, foodie items. products for kids, that would be your audience there. But for example, we're running a small biz village at the Ideal Home Show at Christmas, and that's going to be more mature clients there. They've got great gifts for parents to buy their kids and chance to demonstrate your products. So skincare and jewelry, and also the environment that you're popping up in. So if you're going to be at a shopping center, for example, people aren't naturally going to be expecting a pop-up to be there or a market to be there. You've got to stop people on their way to returning an item at H&M to be like, hey, do you want to try my product? So you'll need a slightly different conversation to start with. So just being aware of the environment you're in as well. Yeah, I'd say they were my top tips.
Amazing. And final question for the episode. And this is a question that I ask all of my guests on the podcast. What is your one word of the year and why?
So I did set my word as bold this year. Yeah, I did my first business retreat back in January. I did Alice Benham's retreat, and I realized how much I've been holding back up until then, because of my shyness, a worry. And so this year I've been really trying to put myself out there, doing conversations like this on podcasts, applying for things. I've started doing Instagram lives recently. And it's amazing the feeling you feel afterwards. It's just so rewarding that just you can do it, and it inspires other people to do it too, as I've looked up to others. So it really helps set that wave. So bold has been my word for the year. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that, Becky. And I really appreciate you coming onto the podcast today. It's been incredible. And for all of our listeners, I really take away some of the tips that Becky shared today to really support you with going to events, whether it's a Christmas event coming up or whether it's an event into the future. Just think of all the tips and strategies that she shared with you today. Becky, where can our listeners find you and connect with you?
Yeah, so we're on Instagram at I Do Handmade Pop-Up, on Facebook and TikTok is the same. And our website is idohandmade.co.uk, where you can see all our events that we organise. We offer free stalls in offices as well for people who are part of the hub, which is the platform where we share all the opportunities. So yeah, free stalls, PR alerts, loads of different functions on there that help product selling businesses.
Amazing. Go and give Becky a follow, say hello to her, connect with her. And if you're interested in being part of any of her events, then 100% reach out and I'm sure she'll be able to support you. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on to the podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me. Really, really enjoyed it.
And thank you so much to everyone that's tuned into today's episode. Please don't forget to rate, review and subscribe to the podcast. And I'll see you all again next time. Thank you for tuning in to the Actually I Can Female Entrepreneur Podcast with me, your host, Kayleigh Greenacre. If you are ready to build, grow and scale your dream six-figure or multi-six-figure business, then head to our website now for more information or connect with me on socials to see how you can create your dream business and dream life.